The last 25 years of the 19th century and the first 25 years of the 20th century brought about the largest immigration of our people into this country. There were a number of reasons for this. The generally declining, deteriorating economy in most of Europe, particularly in Eastern Europe, the confining aspects of anti-Semitism, and the lack of opportunity for scholarship, for advancement, for business, for achieving a satisfactory life, caused our people to leave, to wish to leave, to emigrate. And thus they came to this country, to New York City, which was actually the largest Jewish community in the history of our people. In this new country, they established a number of social institutions which were to help each other socially, economically, and they also established synagogues. And thus we find in New York City many synagogues which belonged originally to the Landsmannschaften, to the people who came from one certain particular area in Europe. We came across such synagogues as the Dukler Mogen Avraham Shul, the Brisker Synagogue, Pinsker Synagogue, the Slonimer Synagogue on Norfolk Street, the Warsaw Synagogue on Rivington Street, and a block away, the Rumänische Schule on Rivington Street, which was really the showplace for cantors, star cantors who wanted to make their debut in this country. And among the earliest cantors we find in this country at the turn of the century were such men as Chazan Cooper, originally from Vilna, Meisels, who was the cantor in Ohev Tzedek, a Hungarian congregation, Zeidel Rovner, whose real name was Maragovsky, who was the teacher of many cantors, Aryele Brutman, a wonderful, wonderful, innovative cantor, and particularly Carniol, who had a fantastic voice, almost of 3 octaves, and he had a phenomenal, remarkable coloratura. These men were followed by such as Baruch Shor, who came here from Lemberg and stayed in New York for a while, and Pinchas Minkowski, who came from Odessa, who was a fine scholar, one of the great scholars that we had among Chazanim, cantors. Then we came across such composer cantors as Tzemachzon, Weisser, Bacon, Arle Blum, and particularly Jacob Rappaport, who was an excellent leader of Chazanim and who was the president for many years of the Jewish Ministers' Cantors Association in this country. These were followed by the star cantors, such as Sirota, who had a magnificent voice, and you may have heard or will hear his voice in the background introducing this program to you. He sang actually for the Wilner Truppe, the Wilner actors who produced the show The Dybbuk, and his voice is heard in the background. It was a phenomenal voice. It was the most powerful voice I've heard in my life. Unfortunately, he died in the Warsaw Ghetto in 1943. Yossele Rosenblatt, who was the most well-known cantor in the world, probably. And we'll have more to say about him. Zavel Kwartin, who came here from Vienna, from Budapest, and who had functioned in most cities in Europe. Hershman, who came here from Vilna. David Roitman, who was in St. Petersburg and Odessa, also in Vilna. Moshe Steinberg, Joseph Shlisky, Adolph Katchko, and Moshe Legenchev, who is fortunately still with us. These were followed by men of such renown as Kapov Kagan, Pinchik, Glantz, and the Koussevitsky brothers. I should tell you that the film you're about to see was made originally in the 1930s. It was called The Voice of Israel and was lost for many years. It somehow disappeared. And it was through the National Center for Jewish Films, connected with Brandeis University, that we came across this film again, and it is being re-edited for you, and you will have an opportunity not only to hear some of these renowned men of Jewish synagogue music, but also see them, perhaps for the first time.
Shamayim, shamayim ladai, zehoret nosam, livenei yodo. Eloi hameshim yehalleluya, Eloi calling on day, Eloi calling on day, אנחנו נבורךיו, מיתו ידיינו, הללויה. Peinlich im Verhof,
The first gentleman you'll hear is Cantor Adolph Katchko, born in 1886, passed away in 1958 at the age of 72. He was born in Russia, sang in some choirs, and then landed in Berlin, Germany, where he studied voice. He developed a beautiful, well-controlled bass baritone, which in spite of the heaviness, robust quality of the voice, had a remarkable facility in coloratura, which was expected of most cantors. He was also a fine musician, a fine composer. For the past 24 years of his life, for the last 24 years of his life, he served congregation on Anshe Chesed in Manhattan, 100th Street and West End Avenue, and left many compositions and many students. He was a remarkable, fine cantor.
Lay of
Joseph Shlisky, born at the turn of the century, sings Uvishofar Gadol Yitaka, the sound of the great trumpet will be heard, from the High Holy Day liturgy. He was born in Russia and sang in a number of choirs as a child, and then was kidnapped by one cantor from another cantor, and was taken first to England and from there to Canada. He came to the United States in 1919. He was a lovely person. He was 5 foot tall, and he had the most pure, liquid, smooth, even lyric tenor that I was ever privileged to hear. It was just a lovely, lovely sound, and possessed a beautiful glissando coming down from upper region to lower. It was just a perfect, perfect voice. Unfortunately, he suffered a stroke in 1940 and passed away in 1955. But during these 15 years, he used to show off to those of us who visited him that he may have had a stroke and could not speak, but the voice was still there and was still beautiful and remarkable. Chazan David Roitman, born in 1884, passed away in 1943 at the age of 59, sings Av HaRachamim from the Torah service. He was born in Russia, sang in choirs of such well-known cantors as Yankel Soroker, Leib Shapiro, and Zeidel Ravner, and ultimately became the chief cantor in St. Petersburg, served also in Vilna, as well as in Odessa, came to the United States in 1922. Although he did not possess the most extraordinary lyric tenor voice, but he was one of the most subtle of cantors. Invariably, he introduces some unexpected, surprising modulation, nuance, curlicue, and leaving the key, going to another key, another mode, and returning smoothly. His Oshamnu Mikolam and Rachel Mevaka al Boneha is known throughout the Jewish world, wherever Jewish singers sing Jewish music. As a matter of fact, even Rosenblatt recorded both Oshamnu and Rachel Mevaka al Boneha. His last position was in Congregation Shaarei Tzedek, 93rd Street near Broadway in Manhattan, and he was one of the most admired and well-loved cantors of our age.
Oh
Mordechai Hershman, born in 1888, died in 1940 at the age of 54. He was born in Russia, went through the same experiences as a child as the other cantors, and was ultimately drafted into the Russian army. But his superior officers heard him sing, and they realized the magnificent voice he had. They released him from the army, and he returned to his congregation in Vilna, where he served for 7 years, and ultimately came to this country and served in Congregation Bethel in Borough Park, Brooklyn, for a number of years. He had one of the most beautiful, perfect tenor voices. He was one of the few who could have made a beautiful career in the field of opera, which cannot be said of most of the other cantors. It is true that Gershon Sirota tried to sing and sang beautifully, no doubt, Pieta Signora from Pergolesi, and Yossele Rosenblatt sang Elegy of Massenet, but they were second-rate performances. Hershman could sing a song beautifully, properly, with a genuine spirit, and it really was one of the most perfect voices we have had in the cantorate. Chazan Joseph Yossele Rosenblatt was born in 1882 and passed away in 1933 at the young age of 51. He sings Adonai Zacharanu, O Lord, remember us, from the Hallel liturgy for the three festivals. I should mention that the choir accompanying him, as well as those who preceded him, is the choir of Meir Machtenberg, who was a very well-known choir leader and served as such for over half a century. Rosenblatt was born in the Ukraine, and for the early part of his life he sang with his father, who was a Baal Tefillah, and then moved to Czernowitz, Bukovina, Bessarabia, from there to Munkac, Hungary, and from there to Pressburg, Austria, and to Hamburg, Germany, and came to this country in 1912 to congregation Ohev Tzedek, the Hungarian congregation, where he succeeded Meisels. Rosenblatt was truly the best-known cantor throughout the world, world-renowned without exaggeration. He was also a fine musician and composed most of the items that he sang. As a matter of fact, he recorded over 200 items for Victor Company and others. His voice was truly a lyric baritone, which assumed the quality of a tenor as he approached the upper register. And he had a remarkable wide range and a phenomenal coloratura and a wonderful falsetto with which he concluded almost every one of his compositions. He was a wonderful individual, a warm person, and a fine representative of our distinguished profession. He was often imitated, but never equaled.
Im
The music we have heard throughout these recordings represents a style current during the past 150 or 200 years. It was a style much loved and sought for by our ancestors and by us. But styles change. We don't know what the future style of the cantorial recitative will be. But it certainly is of great importance for us to know what has preceded us, what was popular and so much loved by our ancestors. We are therefore thankful for the opportunity of having found this treasure, which was lost for a number of years, and presented to us so that we can see as well as listen and begin to appreciate an age that is probably past from us.